All right, guys, what's up? I'm Brendan. This is Cordell. This is pretty rough, our first video. We're going to need a YouTube channel. It's called Fast Fooding. We're big advocates of fasting, intermittent fasting, anything fasting related. We just want to kind of get it out to the world and...
Yeah, what Brendan said. So a little background about myself, guys. I'm actually a bodybuilder. Ended up having a shoulder injury, having surgery, 18 months out of the gym, not being able to bodybuild anymore. I was like, what can I do to kind of spend my time and without going crazy? So I actually started looking into other diet plans. I started doing a ketogenic diet. I got into intermittent fasting just to kind of keep my muscle and ways to keep my body from being fat. And I got really heavy into doing that. Started doing that with a lot of clients too. I ended up getting a cert in hormonal specialist, so I can kind of learn more about hormones and how the body responds to insulin, things of that nature as well. So, I'm still doing it now. Now that I'm cleared, I'm still bodybuilding, still getting back into the mix, all while fasting still.
And then my background is been lifting weights for 22 years. The very, very traditional, wake up in the morning, eat in every 2.5 to 3 hours, all day, every day, 7 days a week for the last 22 years. I've done fitness modeling, I've done fitness competitions. I've been died down for a lot of different things, a lot of different times. And the problem I've always had is I've never been able to stay lean consistently. And you work so hard to get there, and you get there and you peak. And then if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards. And fasting is the first time in my entire life I've actually been able to maintain a low percent body fat very easily. And it's all thanks to Cordell's help, actually.
So yeah, same boat with Brendan. Us being bodybuilders, those who are actually trying to build muscle, we've always been used to the every 2 hours, eating every 2 hours, high protein diets, tons of cardio, tons of weight training. My idea was, how can I get a faster and smarter approach? So I figured there has to be another way to help out with putting on muscle, preserving muscle, getting lean without having to, have my life revolved around the stove, cooking, eating, buying, weighing things out daily. So I started doing the fasting, and I've noticed this is actually a smarter approach. So my whole philosophy is just more so, I want to avoid injuries. I want to give my body more of a break. So let me work smarter instead of harder. And it's actually paid off. I'm actually feeling a lot better. I'm barely sick. My injuries are healed up now, so I can actually train a lot better. And I'm noticing now that I'm getting back into the gym, my pain level's not there anymore, and I'm actually able to train a lot harder and longer without having to do as much work.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing for both of us is we stay quite lean, between approximately 12% body fat all year round. And I know it's not bodybuilding type lean, but when we're not too strict. I'm personally not doing cardio. I don't think you are right now. Not doing cardio, doing your weights 5 days a week, nothing crazy. But making sure I fast every day for a minimum of 16 hours. And no matter how hard I try or how big my cheat meal is, I can't put on weight. And I keep waiting for the catch. I'm like, when am I going to wake up 100 pounds and lost all my muscle? Or when am I suddenly going to be fat from fasting? Or the catch never came. And I actually saw it on Joe Rogan's podcast. He talks about intermittent fasting, and he started it, and he's like, I just keep waiting for the catch, and it just never came. And it's just an amazing feeling. And it's not at all about keeping the weight off, but that's what most people are worried about these days. And like Cordell said, there's a bunch of extra benefits that come from fasting. But as far as just getting weight off and keeping it off, it's been absolutely amazing for me.
Yeah, and that's actually a big thing. Most of us nowadays are not really trying to chase, the mass. We're not trying to get really huge. A lot of us now are more so looking for a good way to have a nice aesthetically pleasing body, more lean muscle, a nice physique, chiseled abs, not so much really mass these days. So a lot of my clients who I train currently, they're looking for a good way to have a nice physique, like a beach body will say per se. And there is a way to actually get to your goal without having to do every 2 hours, without having to weigh your food every single time. There is actually benefits to fasting. A lot of people might actually bash fasting and say, why would you not want to eat, all the time? It's stupid. You're starving. Yeah, you're starving. the main thing about it is, Brendan and I were looking for longevity. We know that eating every 2 hours, it's stressful on the body, mentally, physically, even financially. All the money you're spending on food, if you ask Brendan how much you're spending a day on food now opposed to a few years ago, it's probably like a fraction of the price now. So that's the thing too. It's more so helping people realize that you can hit your goals without having to put as much effort in. And the main thing about it is, if time and money is an issue for you to hit your goal, that's no longer an issue. There's ways to hit your goal without spending as much money, without having as much time invested in the gym. Excuse me. So this is actually a smarter approach. And the main thing about it is I've always heard about it, but being a bodybuilder, I'm like, there's no way that I can get that way and having a bodybuilding physique now. So me having this time off the gym, I was like, let me actually put it to life and do it myself. And here I am, over 15 months now out of bodybuilding, me getting back into the gym this last 2 weeks, and I've maintained a good amount of my size. Like Brendan was saying, he actually maintains his weight. It's hard for him to put on fat. For me personally, I've kind of plateaued at 220, and I can't really get any fatter when I fast. Right now I'm fasting. My last meal was actually 9:00 last night, and I haven't ate since then. You're probably on the same boat as me,
And I'm not going to lie, like I heard of the fasting, I heard of intermittent fasting, I heard of people being lean doing it. I never really knew much about it. And it wasn't until I met Cordell 6 months ago, and he told me I'm like, dude, you look amazing. What do you do? How do you eat? Like I said, I've dieted. I know how to get lean. I know it's hard work. I know it takes about 4 months of strict dieting to get lean. And I've said this plenty of times, if he didn't look the way he looked, I would have told him he's crazy. There's no way in the world I would have listened. There's no way in the world I would have applied it. But the fact he was big, he was lean, he looked very healthy, I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to this guy. I'm going to try it. And it has changed my life. And it's changed my life forever, because this is the first time I've been 100% sure that I'm going to stay lean. I'm going to stay in shape for the rest of my life. And I've been lifting weights for 22 years, and I've been lean, and then not fat, but like bodybuilder fat, like out of competition fat. And the cool thing now is, right now I'm at 11% body fat. It's not crazy lean, but if I want to get to 6-7%, it's only a month or two away. It's not 4 or 5 months of strict dieting, cooking, cleaning, prepping, shopping, getting up in the morning, prepping your food, spending all day Sunday prepping your food, walk around with your these 6 lunch boxes in your hand. Like, we're all been there. Anyone's done weights, anyone's done bodybuilding, we're all been there. It sucks. It's horrible. You're eating the plain, bland food. It's not maintainable. I've never had fun doing that. But I liked the way I looked. And it got to a point where it's like, okay, 6 meals a day, cooking, cleaning, prepping, and then I became a father, started some businesses. My priorities changed. And now it's so cool because I am a father, I got businesses, everything's doing well, and then I'm in shape on top of that. And for me, that just ticks that. That's always been that major box for me. When I'm in shape is when I'm happy. It makes me really happy. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but when I'm in shape, I'm happy. And having everything going good and then being in shape on top of that is just amazing to me.
Yeah, and that's the key point, guys, is that Brendan actually made, is we're not making a huge effort to get the physique that we have right now. When I made him his protocol, he was blown away by how simple it was, and the weight was just falling off in regards to body fat, how he was able to build muscle as well with such little effort. So if we want to make our physiques more dramatic, like get even more shredded, all we would do is make even more of an effort. So right now, this is something that we can do without the effort. There's no stress involved. There's no financial toll. There's no, wear and tear on our bodies at all. The physique that he has right now is literally just with no effort. He's not putting a lot of effort into the gym. So like you said, roughly a month out, if he actually starts training hard for a month, opposed top of putting in the fasting implement as well, and eating maybe a little cleaner, maybe a little less cheat meals, he could, without a doubt, come in even more shredded, more peeled, opposed to someone eating every 2 hours, doing cardio hours a day to get the same physique. So that's the main thing about it, is just a smarter approach to get the results that people, strive for. And that's the main thing about it. People I've heard about keto, I heard about fasting, but someone actually, living, breathing, doing that same exact protocol, but having the muscle, having the physique to show for, that's the main thing about it. That's never really been out there. I don't think it's still out there. Most people who do keto and fasted, they're more of like, they don't have a lot of mass, put it that way. So my whole thing is like, is it possible to put on muscle mass or maintain muscle mass while doing fasting and keto, or even just fasting in general? And I know the benefits of fasting. Some people will bash and say, "Oh, it's dumb to eat not to eat out." It's dumb to eat, once a day. Like I do omit a lot of times. I'll do 1 meal a day, or I'll do a 16-8 split. Some people say it's stupid to do it that way, but the main thing about it is, like I said before, Brendan and I are looking for more longevity. What can we do to make our body function efficiently internally and then look great externally as well? So it's more so not just about the appearance. A lot of guys, you guys probably know too, bodybuilding, physique athletes, bikini athletes, they'll look great, when they're on stage, when they're competing, but internally, how taxed are their adrenal glands, how taxed are their body, how mentally drained are they? So when it comes to actually fasting, it's more so a way to actually get the body internally healthy, while looking, exterior looking great as well. So that's my whole thing. Like Brendan and I are both fathers. He's got a daughter, I've got a son, and we want to be able to have our time with our kids, while actually running businesses, while actually being able to stay in shape as well. So this is just a smarter approach for someone who wants to actually have a nice physique, not necessarily be Mr. Olympia or be the biggest and baddest guy. It's not really that kind of approach, but someone who wants to have a nice lean physique, beach body, beach body, that's easy to obtain physique. Most guys these days don't want to be like the huge Ronnie Coleman guys. For those that do, it's not an ideal diet. You want to be eating every 2 hours, but most people think in general you have to eat all the time. We went from eating 3 meals a day to eating every 6 meals a day now, but that's not really the case. It's not really needed. I'm not really opposed to doing food every 2 hours personally, but it's more so, is there another way to get the results without every 2 hours, without eating a lot? And there is. That's the main thing about it. I wanted to kind of see if I can actually, get the results I want without having to put as much effort into the food, or even training. Is there a way I can train smarter, without having to train as hard and get the same results? And I'm seeing that actually is the case. It's a possibility.
And the thing is with this, like, we don't know it all. We're the first ones to admit that we don't know it all. But what I do know, a lot of people preaching fasting, they're doctors. And the doctors that look like they've never been in the gym in their life. And I'm not bashing on doctors. They know the stuff, hence that's why they're doctors. But for me personally, I wouldn't go to a fat personal trainer. I wouldn't go to a broke financial planner. I like to listen to people who look the way that I want to look. And right now, you're 220?
220.
I'm 220. We're both sitting at 220 pounds at about 11% body fat, easily. Like, when I say easy, I'm talking like effortlessly. For me to do that in the past, and I'm also 39, you're 30. Like, yeah, our metabolisms are slowed down. Like, that's something maybe I could do when I was 21, but I wouldn't have had the size then. So now I got the size, and I haven't got metabolism, but I'm staying leaner I ever have is easier than I ever have in my life. So I guess what I'm saying is we don't know it all, but the fact we are bigger guys, in traditional terms, we are in pretty good shape. Maybe you might want to consider maybe trying fasting, because the proof's in the pudding type thing. Like, we're not lying to you guys. There's no hidden agenda here. I just discovered this and I'm amazed by it, and I literally want to teach the world about this because my life has never been easier or better. So the way I fast, we'll get into kind of like the way we're fasting personally. I do a minimum of 16 hours where I don't eat. I'll have black coffee, and that's it, and some water, and that's it. I use an app called Zero, Zero. You hit it when you start fasting, you hit it when you stop, and it tells you how many hours you fasted that day, and it gives you an average of how many hours you're fasting over the week. Right now, my average fast is 19 and a half hours per day. I started at 16, I build up. I might go to OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. I might go back to 16-8. I tend to I just listen to my body now. If I've trained early in the morning and by the time 2 o'clock comes, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty hungry, I'm ready to eat, I'll eat. Other times when I don't train, I tend I can go all day, and it's like, oh, I'm not even hungry. Somewhere along society, like human beings have been around for 2.5 million years, and we fed when we could, and we fasted the rest of the time, pretty much like an animal would. And then somewhere along the last probably 50 to 100 years is you have your 3 square meals a day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You got to eat. If you don't eat, you're going to lose muscle. If you don't eat, you're going to shrink. You're not as healthy if you don't eat all the time. And it's all BS. And it's not till you do it that you realize how much it's just marketing, money, buying breakfast cereal, going out to eat. What's your fasting regime right now?
Actually, pretty similar to what Brendan's doing currently. I stick to more of a 16-8. You know, like he does, I do my body. I wait for my ghrelin to spike. If I have an appetite, I'll eat then. So for me personally, I'll usually, sleep 8 hours, fast 8 hours, and then I'll break the fast, and I'll usually eat like evening time. So myself, I usually feel pretty empty the entire day, so I'm not really hungry at all until nighttime for myself personally. So I'll usually break my fast after work around 8 o'clock at night, and I'll usually eat then.
When are you training? What time do you train?
Yeah, training wise, since I actually did finish, I am cleared to work out now, so I am actually starting to get back into bodybuilding again. So probably starting with all the rest of you guys, January. No, I'm joking. New Year's, with New Year's around the corner, I'm actually going to start training. I'm actually going to start bodybuilding again too. So I'm probably going to start tweaking things, because going into bodybuilding and doing keto, doing intermittent fasting, it's more so like people are going to be like, that's not possible. You can't put on mass. Like, it's cool to have a nice physique, be shredded, but to put on muscle, maybe go to 230 was my goal. Go to 230 and be shredded while doing, a 16-8 fast, or even doing like 2 days a week of a 24-hour fast. That's my goal, because my goal this time around is to actually do a smarter approach. I've been bodybuilding since 2006, when I was in high school, and I've always had to train around injuries. I've always had to train, with imbalances, and that's just more so because I've always been told, go, balls to the wall, go heavy as possible, make sure you're eating every 2 hours, make sure you're eating even in the middle of the night. I actually get up in the middle of the night and eat more meals. If you're full, then you're doing it right. If you're hungry, you're doing it wrong. So now it's opposite. If I'm hungry, I eat. So it's more so getting back into bodybuilding. So rebuilding myself. I'm probably going to start doing opposite of what I'm doing. I probably get up in the morning, eat 8 hours straight, and then fast the rest of the day. So before that, to have the physique I have today, I really just do a lot of, we'll say body weight exercises, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, not really doing any kind of compound movements at all, no weights. I just started this week with the weights again. So people see my physique and they're like, what are you doing? Are you bodybuilding? I'm like, yeah, but I'm actually haven't worked out bodybuilding in over a year, and they're blown away by it. Like, well, are you eating every 2 hours? I'm like, no, I eat 8 hours and I fast for 16 hours. And they're like, what are you talking about? And it's it's unreal. And I would be blown away too, just looking, if I was looking at myself, asking myself some of the same question, like, hey, seeing a guy who's 220 and a body, and with a nice physique still, and him saying that he only eats 8 hours a day,
doesn't eat, yeah,
would blow my mind, but just me doing it myself and realizing that, hey, I'm actually doing that. I'm actually maintained a pretty good amount of size. People have said, hey, you look like you haven't lost any muscle at all. And I think realistically, I haven't. I'm usually around 220, in general, even before I got hurt, even before I started fasting. So the fact of the matter is that your body does preserve muscle. That's the thing about fasting, guys, is everyone thinks that if you have a lot of muscle and you go without eating, your body's going to just automatically just put on destruct button. Everything's going to destruct. Your muscles are going to go to waste. That's not really the case. Brendan and I are seeing now that, with us being able to maintain, you've been doing this for
6 months.
6 months now. So he's been doing it for 6 months now, and at least by the first 12 weeks, he would notice a difference in muscle mass if that was really the case. So the thing about it is, like you were saying before, think back when we were, like back during the caveman age, when there weren't any grocery stores, supermarkets at all. Our bodies are actually awesome machines. They actually can adapt very well. So the thing about it is, our bodies know when it comes to diet being changed to actually adapt. So with that being said, me fasting for so many times months on end. It's been 15 months now. So I've been doing this for 15 months straight, and my body's just literally adapted. I'm still eating. It's just more so I'm eating at an 8-hour time period, and I'm fasting for 16 hours. So I've been able to maintain a good amount of size. Yeah, I've lost muscle because I'm not bodybuilding anymore, but the fact that I haven't gone, to like a skinny Gandhi guy, and the fact that I'm not bodybuilding, I still maintained a good amount of size still is pretty unreal. Now that I'm actually going to start doing bodybuilding again, and then doing my fasting and my keto, that's going to be the more of the shocker. People are going to see, that you can actually put on muscle while fasting, while doing keto, or I'll, flop and it will go horribly wrong. But yeah. Either way, you guys are going to see it, because people would assume, my size, that I'm actually doing, weights 5 days a week, cardio 6 days a week, eating every 2 hours, 10 ounces of protein here. And honestly, when my meals are, like right now, when I break my fast tonight around maybe 9 o'clock, when I break the fast, it's probably going to be about maybe 4 ounces of protein, instead of 8 ounces or 10 ounces. It's probably going to be, I probably won't be doing keto. I probably do some carbs today, because the fact of the matter is my body's so adapted that I can kind of throw in carbs, throw in sugars, throw in fats, and do all that together. And if I go out of keto, I can just fast again,
back in,
and I'll be back in there, the quick way, and people are slowly starting to see, that the keto is working pretty well in regards to muscle preserving. But the whole fasting, people can get their head around fasting. They think when you don't eat, your body literally just starts wasting muscle away. And that's the thing that it's more so, people are more so show me than there's research and evidence, but it's more so seeing someone, go through, a fasting phase with a lot of muscle and then not lose muscle. That's going to be more of the the show all, because I can look at someone, and they can say, hey, I'm actually fasting right now, and I'm 280th muscle. I haven't lost any size at all. But having someone actually go through, having someone's progress, week after week after week, and seeing that lose muscle, I'm more of a guy that's like, hey, show me. I need to see the results. So most people don't really have any kind of proof of evidence. Like I said before, most people do the usual 2 hours, every 2 hours eat, or every 3 hours, or 6 meals a day. There's not really guys who, or bodybuilders in that fast. And the reason why is because, they don't want to risk any muscle at all. But the main thing about it is, your body can actually adapt. I believe your body can adapt in regards to how much muscle you have currently. And if you're actually training, towards size and eating properly, you can still put on size without having to eat the mass amounts of foods, and as well as the training, you don't have to really go as intense, personally, So me going into January and going back into bodybuilding and going back into, and doing fasting for the first time, actually, when I competed, way over a year ago, I was actually doing the usual two meals a day. 2 hours, every 2 hours, eating every 2 hours. And I was doing, the traditional bodybuilder diet, the asparagus, the fish, the steak and rice. I didn't go anywhere near a fasted diet because I didn't want to waste away, So now it's like, hey, let me see if I waste away this time. And I'm actually going to do intermittent fasting. We'll go over what I'm going to be doing as January rolls around, but I just wanted more so just to kind of let you guys know what I'm doing currently, so you can see, how I look currently, what I'm doing currently. And it's like you said, Brennan and I are doing very little effort when it comes to the gym. So our goal, with this channel is to mainly show you guys what you can actually accomplish with keto, with intermittent fasting. You might be like, hey, these guys look good, but I'm more shredded than these guys are, and I'm eating every 2 hours, and I'm training, 6 days a week. I'm doing HIIT cardio, an hour a day. I want the physique that I have today, and I know if I'm doing fasted or keto, I can't achieve that. So that's one thing Brennan and I are going to do. We're going to actually continue doing what we're doing, but we're going to start training more as well. We're going to actually make an effort, put it that way. We're going to make an effort. Make an effort, and actually we're going to come in actually really shredded, and you'll see the results. And that's the thing about it, the proof's in the pudding, like he said. So actually us working out and making an effort, is more so going to be, the show all.
Because, like Codell said, there is plenty of people out there who are bigger, leaner right now than us. But they are doing it every 2.5 hours. They are cooking, cleaning, prepping, shopping all day, every day. And as soon as they stop doing that, they start losing it. Their abs start to fade away. We've been there, you've been there, I've been there. It's horrible. I just want to touch on the hardest thing with fasting was all mental. because my entire life, especially my mom's like, breakfast, most important meal of the day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And then when you started doing weights, it's like, oh, you got to get up, you have protein as soon as you get out of bed. Your body's like, needs protein. And then you're eating an hour later, and then having your pre-workout meals, post-workout meals, your BCAs while you train, like everything that's been instilled to anybody who's picked up a bodybuilding magazine. And that was the hardest part for me. It was all mental. I wake up, I'm like, oh, I'm not eating breakfast. Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna shrivel away. The last 20 years of weights is gonna go away. And I just found like I'm okay. And that was my first mental challenge, not having breakfast. My second was training fasted. I've done fasted cardio, but to train weights fasted, I'm like this, I'm gonna break down muscle. I'm gonna waste 20 years away. That was my second challenge. I remember talking to Cordell maybe first, second time after I've done it. I'm like, I was fine. I was absolutely fine. But then I'd race home and eat. So that I'd break my fast then. And now I'm at a point where I don't have breakfast. I don't eat before I train. I don't eat after I train. I just kind of eat when I eat. Sometimes that might be 6 hours after I've done weights. And it's weird because you're like, oh, I'm going to lose muscle, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the scales aren't moving. The body fat's not getting higher. I'm like, I'm cheating. I literally feel like I'm cheating. I'm like, where is the catch? I don't eat. I train pretty average. I don't do cardio. I'm not training abs. I've got abs. That was the hardest part for me. And then on top of that, I don't know if this happened with you, is the boredom factor. What I realized is our entire society is revolved around food. We eat socially. We eat on emotions. We eat on boredom. We eat just cause. We eat when we think we're hungry. And all of a sudden, like when you fast, especially when you do like a longer fast, like the longest fast I've done is 46 hours. And the hardest part about the fast was like 3 hours a day. I'm like, what do I do with these extra 3 hours? Don't need to be anywhere. Or if I go out, normally I might go out and get a coffee. I'll go to race home, have breakfast. Or I go out and do some work. I'm like, I've got to come home, have lunch. And when you don't eat, you have the ability to just go from A to B to C to D for all day and not ever have to worry about having food with you, having healthy food with you, having money. Like it saves you a fortune on money, trying to find the right place to eat, trying to find the healthy place to eat. And then when you do find that healthy place, it's always twice the price anyway. And then you're able to go out all day, every day. You don't eat. You get home and you're in better shape than you were when you were doing that anyway. It's nuts.